Hello, all, and welcome to this afternoon's beer review, which I am dubbing the I'm really tired beer review. I hope I'm not coming down with something. So, yeah, I'm not feeling too great today. Some people might blame it. Oh, you drank beer last night. Like, literally, I had what I reviewed last night, and then I had what I'm going to be reviewing right now, and then I kind of called it a night. And that was with a large meal, too. So, yeah, I don't think it was the alcohol. So, anyways, today's St. Patrick's Day. I already had my corned beef and cabbage. And let me tell you that corned beef and cabbage is something that is better when you use like cheaper ingredients than like expensive ones. I went to like kind of a frou-frou bougie kind of place, a frou-frou bougie supermarket, and got their like corned beef and cabbage, and it was like, dude, you're supposed to really stew this thing down. You don't want it to have like you don't want that cabbage and carrots and potatoes and corned beef to really have texture to it. You just kind of want it to be all soft and salty and melty on the mouth. You know what I mean? You know. But yeah. So I already ate it. It was also kind of overpriced for the amount they gave me. But you know, what's new with that? Do love corned beef and cabbage though. Corned beef, cabbage, and potatoes, one of my favorites. Oh, and I didn't have any mustard with it either. I asked them, "Oh, you guys got mustard?" And they're like, "Oh, no, we don't have mustard." And it's like, then why are you selling corned beef? Huh? Why? 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 Anyways, what are we reviewing this St. Patrick's Day? Well, I have my hat from Ireland on. Well, we are reviewing Breckenridge Brewery's Nitro Irish Stout. This is 4.8 ABV. Of course, it's nitrogenated, not carbonated, and it is a dry Irish Stout. Going through the reviews on this, I was like, I'm kind of starting to think that a lot of people don't realize that there are various styles of Irish stout, I mean, various styles of stout. So it's like, wow, this stout is so weak and, it's not rich tasting. And it's like, yes, it's a dry Irish stout. It's not an imperial stout. It's not like, an American stout. It's supposed to be sessionable. That's what the dry Irish stout is all about. So, without much further ado, let's go and pour this one out. There's some sort of widget in this, but I don't think it's as effective as a Guinness widget. So, let's just go and pour it into pint glass. Though this is not a full pint, this is only about 13.6 ounces. And when you don't have a widget, you try to give it as high of a pour as possible. So you can see, well, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's doing it properly. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be that much nitrogen in this. As you can see, only a thin layer of head here. Some light gets through, sort of in brownish red maybe, with of course a beige to light brown head. Redolent of cocoa, coffee, toasted bread, and a hint of cream too. Of course, doesn't express itself too well in the nosing, but that's just, of course, it's nitrogenated, not carbonated. Carbonation tends to make it pop a bit more. It's all about the texture on the mouth. Let's go and get it into let's get it onto the palate now, shall we? Pretty light mouthfeel. a roasted finish, sort of a light roasted coffee finish, roasted light coffee finish, light roasted coffee finish on the palate and on the top note. Pretty much bone dry. Flavor's fairly muted, but I'm having this a lot colder than it should be, you know. That's another thing about the dry Irish stout style. You really should have it at like continental room temperature. So you should be having this in the low to mid 60s, pouring out at that temperature. So we've got that roasted malt bitterness, touch of hop bitterness there as well. Sort of earthy, but you know, not impeding much with the way of those roasted malts, sort of adding on to the malt profile there. I'd say, yeah, it is kind of watery, even for the style. Honestly, even though it didn't express much nitrogen in the head, you can still feel it on the palate, though. It's very gentle and subtle, but you still feel it. While there is bit of chocolate and cocoa on the palate. It doesn't really express itself in the top note. Top note is, you know, roasted malts and roasted light coffee notes. Not complex, but you're not really expecting a lot of complexity from this style. It is exactly to style. I would want it the probably the residual sugar to be just a bit higher so that it has a touch more heft to the mouthfeel, as well as maybe just a ghost more sweetness. As it is, it's fine. If you're drinking this just while you're chatting with friends at an Irish pub, or better yet, eating like a hearty stew. I'm kind of craving a hearty stew right now. An Irish stew is kind of sounding really good right now, but I don't know where you would get that. So all in all, it fits the style. Kind of light, both in body and in taste for the style, but not objectionably so. Um, yeah, definitely. I'd still say it's better than Guinness. Guinness is really watery and also has a little bit too much bitterness at the same time. This one, not as bitter. Some people might see that as a drawback. Um, I kind of see it as, it is what it is. So far, my favorite dry Irish stout is Murphy's, but dry Irish stout is not the style I kind of hunt out. If I'm looking for Irish style, I go for Irish Red. I love Irish Reds. Now that's how I like my Mylard reactions. But if you like Irish Stouts, I would give this one a shot. As always, your mileage may vary. And that, folks, is your dry Irish Stout review for this St. Patrick's Day. Cheers. Or should I say, Slunte.